Mr. Donald J. Trump recently did an interview marking the first 100 days of his second term. And several of the statements in this interview stood out as either blatant lies or being significantly misleading. Today, we're going to have a look at some of these false claims, followed by explanations of why Trump might have made them based on his political style, past behavior, and strategic goals. Let's talk about it. 大家好，我是 Saran 在中国. Hey everyone, it's Saran in China. How y'all doing today? I hope you're having a lovely day. I'm having a fantastic day over here in Shenzhen. The weather is great. It's not too hot yet. And you know what else is great? So many of my great viewers are remembering to hit that subscribe button below and throw me a thumbs up. We're getting so much closer to my goal of 15,000 subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to all the great people who have been sending me a little extra to buy me a cup of coffee. 谢谢你们. I really appreciate it. And hey, I just dropped another new video on my other channel, Saran Travels. There will be a link to it down below. It shows the amazing and vibrant night market that I found on the first night that I was there. It is stunning. Go check it out. But for now, let's talk about Donald Trump. I asked AI to take a look at Donald Trump's interview and pull out some of the most blatant lies and offer some possible reasons that he made them. On top of that, I'm going to give you my take on what I think is actually going on. So here we go. Number one, his claim on the trade deficit. He said, "We were losing $2 trillion a year on trade." Fact, no, they weren't. The U.S. trade deficit in 2024 was $917.8 billion, far less than the claimed $2 trillion. Moreover, a trade deficit does not equate to money lost, but reflects the balance between imports and exports. So, why might he say this? Well, Trump exaggerates the trade deficit to reinforce his narrative of economic victimhood and justify his protectionist policies, like tariffs. This appeals to his base, who view trade imbalances as evidence of unfair deals, and strengthens his image as a leader fixing a broken system. What about my take? Well, I firmly believe that Trump does not have the faintest idea how trade deficits work. In his mind, if the USA, the largest consumer economy on the planet, buys more products from your country than you do from the USA, you owe America money. Therefore, a country of 20 million people, or penguins, should buy the exact same amount of consumer goods as a country of 340 million people, or it's unfair. By this rationale, McDonald's must owe Trump millions. Number two, claims on grocery prices. Statement: "The prices of groceries have gone down. Eggs, big beautiful eggs, strong eggs, round eggs, are down 87%. Fact: grocery prices rose by 2.4% by March 2025 year over year, with a 0.5% increase from February to March alone, contradicting any claim of a decline. So why he might say this? Well, by asserting that grocery prices have decreased, Trump aims to counter public concerns about inflation, a key economic issue. This claim projects success and stability and appeals to working class voters sensitive to rising costs, even if the data disproves it. My personal take: Trump lied to get votes, period. As a pathological liar, Donald Jumping Jack Trump would have promised anything to appeal to the lower income earning voters, who unfortunately make up a large part of the voting base in America. To acknowledge now that prices have not gone down, that they in fact went up, he would be admitting failure. something his fragile and volatile ego is incapable of doing. His claim that egg prices went down by 87% since he took office would indicate that there was a time before he entered the White House when eggs were well over $50 a dozen. Absolutely ludicrous. Number 3, claims about tariff revenue. Statement: we're taking in billions of dollars in tariffs, by the way, implying that the government is taking in $2 billion per day and that America is getting rich from tariff income from other countries. Fact: tariff revenue averaged around $500 million per day, not the suggested $2 billion. Now, why might he say that? Well, Trump inflates tariff revenue to portray his trade policies as financially beneficial and himself as a tough negotiator, winning trade wars. This exaggeration bolsters his economic credentials and justifies the tariffs, despite criticism of their broader impact. My take? Once again, simply an economic tool that DJ Tariff has no real understanding of. I firmly believe that in his head, tariffs are a financial penalty paid by the exporting countries and not the American consumers. This is despite countless top economists and financial experts, even those in his own administration, stating otherwise. But now that he has used it as an election promise, it's too late to go back and admit that he was wrong. Number 4, claims about the number of trade deals. He said, we've struck 200 trade deals since I came into office. Fact: there is no evidence of 200 new trade deals within the first 100 days of his second term, making this claim implausible and unsubstantiated. So why would he say that? Well, Trump often uses hyperbole to project competence and productivity. Claiming an inflated number of trade deals enhances his deal-maker persona and suggests significant activity on the global stage, appealing to voters who value economic nationalism. What do I think about it? Well, once again, with his ongoing string of abject failures and ridiculously low understanding of the trade war he himself started, he needs to justify his actions to his voters and supporters in order to keep getting them to send him money for crypto scams, Chinese-made Trump merchandise, and future scams to come. The fact that not only have no countries have made trade deals with him in the first 100 days is laughable, but claiming 200 trade deals when there are not even 200 countries on the planet to make trade deals with is absurd. And in my honest opinion, is proof positive of his severe cognitive decline. Number 5, his claim on energy prices. He said, the cost of energy, I'm sorry, well, energy has gone down. Excuse me. Fact: energy prices, including gasoline and electricity, remained volatile in early 2025, with no consistent decline, contrary to his assertions. So, why might he say that? Well, energy costs are a politically sensitive topic, particularly for rural and suburban voters in his base. Claiming a decrease allows Trump to take credit for economic relief, reinforcing a positive narrative despite the lack of supporting evidence. What do I think? As much of a fool as Donald Joffrey Trump is, he knows he needs to hold on to his rural voting base if he wishes to continue. Targeting energy prices was a massive campaign promise, the price of gas, for example, and yet again shows his complete and utter inability to stand true to his word and the promises he made, specifically to rural America. and that may well have won him the last election. Finally, his claims about Chinese negotiations. He said, he's called, and I don't think it was a sign of weakness on his behalf. A little bit of projection there, Donald. Fact: Chinese officials in the Communist Party of China have confirmed publicly and repeatedly that there have been no calls or negotiations with the Trump administration, nor would there be until Trump was willing to come to the negotiating table in a fair and equitable manner. So, why would he say that? Well, in order to continue to justify his tough stance on China and the ongoing trade war, he is trying desperately to project the image of strength to his voters and administration alike. Trump believes a firm stance is vital to successful negotiation. My take? Donald Jorge Trump is nothing more than a schoolyard bully and weakling. To be the first to make contact with the opposing side, he would see that as a show of weakness. In his simple little brain, this would give them an unfair advantage and make him look subservient to them. On the other side of the coin, were China to initiate the negotiations, Trump would shout to all who would listen about his tremendous victory over the weaker and much more pathetic adversaries. I have no doubt he would have t-shirts and posters made, in China of course, overnight to sell to his adoring simpletons, showing him as the almighty hero. Think David and Goliath. Now, these are just a few of the lies, but they were some of the bigger ones. What's kind of the broader reasoning behind these falsehoods? Well, Trump's tendency to make such claims can be attributed to several overarching motivations: rallying his base. Exaggerations about trade, tariffs, and energy tap into his America First agenda, resonating with supporters who prioritize economic protectionism and national strength. He also wants to control the narrative. Bold, false statements dominate media attention, shifting focus from potential criticisms or policy shortcomings to his preferred storyline of success. Projecting confidence. Overstating achievements like trade deals or price reductions reinforces his image as a decisive and effective leader, central to his political brand. Countering criticism. Claims about grocery prices and interest rates may preempt or rebut concerns about inflation and economic struggles, protecting his approval ratings. As for my personal belief, Trump may genuinely believe some of his rhetoric, as he has a history of embracing alternative facts that align with his worldview, even when contradicted by overwhelming evidence. He is very obviously a narcissist, megalomaniac, control freak, and a pathological liar. His abuses of women and his own workforce, let alone the supporters and voters he has robbed of their life savings, paints a picture of an evil tyrant who pulled off the biggest con in the history of the world. So, in conclusion, in the Time magazine interview, Donald Trump made several blatant lies, primarily centered on economic issues like trade deficits, tariffs, grocery and energy prices, trade deals, and negotiations with China, among many, many others. These falsehoods serve strategic purposes: enhancing his image, rallying his political base, and shaping public perception of his administration's perceived success. While some claims may reflect his personal pathology, most are likely calculated exaggerations designed to maintain his narrative of economic and political dominance in the early days of his second term. So there you go. Those were just a few examples. If you look in the past at his first term, there were thousands and thousands, literally, of lies that were fact checked and proven to be nothing but. So, what do you think? Is Donald Trump ever going to come around and do what's best for America? Or is this the best it's going to get? Is this what we can expect for the next 4 years? Or, with any luck, could Donald Trump be voted out during the midterm elections? And if so, who do you think would replace him? In any case, I'd love to hear your take on it. As always, I like to read your comments down below. And otherwise, I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. 再见。